Welcome to our channel Mount Everest Part 2. As you know, in Mount Everest failing there's problems with sleeping. It gets hard to fall asleep and equally hard to wake up. Muscles atrophy and people quickly lose weight. Fatigue and poor vision increase the risk of falling. The inability to clearly think and make decisions is threatening because a climber might easily go off the path, forget to secure their safety rope, or not recognize their low oxygen supply. Experienced climbers say that people can clearly feel the balance between life and death that hot, and the body starts experiencing smells, seeing colors, and even understanding time differently. So the first climb was completed on May 29, 1953 by New Zealander Edmund Hillary and his guide Tenzing Norgay. They spent just 15 minutes at the top. In that time Hillary took a picture of Norgay, his guide called the Sherpa, who left some chocolate in the snow as a gift to the gods, and Hillary planted a flag. There is no picture of Hillary on top of Everest, unfortunately, because, as he says, Tenzing wasn't able to use a camera. On June 6, 1953 Hillary was awarded the title of Knight Commander of the Order of the British Empire, and his Sherpa Norgay was known as Snow Type. By the way, the Sherpas are genetically adapted to the height. They live at heights of about 2.5 miles, and they do all the difficult work and carry food and equipment in the groups, the point of no return. So if climbers are so serious about making it to the top and then having that experience with others, why do they leave the bodies of their dead friends who didn't make it to the top behind? Or are the morals of Earth different than those on the mountain? So let's dig into this a little bit. So after people first reached the top in 1953, Everest had already received payment for such an expedition in the lives of over 300 people. Several climbers saw their friends still alive, but kept moving on since there was nothing they could do to help. There's a point of no return on Everest. It's at about 4.9 miles high. After that it's not possible to help a dying climber if they can't move on their own. The full equipment of warm clothes and shoes, and on top of someone's normal weight, is at least 200 pounds, making it unrealistic to take someone down alone. And if you try to do it in a group of 2 or 3, then you'll be too wide for the path. So that doesn't mean these climbers are heartless, it's just that there are conditions where it's impossible to help. When climbing, the amount of oxygen gets cut down to just 1/3, so the lack of oxygen makes the body start working slower. Even if a physically strong person could easily save a few people at once on the ground, they can't on the mountain because of the oxygen. Climbers say that the tanks everyone carries contains a certain amount of oxygen, and if you try to help someone it gets spent much faster. That would cause 2 people to die instead of 1. Now, if a climber has a normal amount of oxygen and it's warm enough, then they'll try to help, but in other conditions the most they can do is contact the base camp. Besides that, the bodies of the dead are quickly frozen by the climate, so even if you try to take them down you'll need a huge amount of time, and the climbers aren't going up to go back down halfway. The bodies of the climbers who couldn't make it to the top of Everest or another mountain will always be in those mountains. That's the cost of the climb. And realizing your dream. The ideas of camaraderie and mutual help have different meanings on the mount than they do on the ground. The human desire to support and help each other is weakened in the mountains, and it's not because of morals but because of oxygen, climate conditions, and endurance. The climbers are convinced that you are in 2 worlds at the top, as if you're between life and death. Those that made it to the top say that people climb Everest because it exists. Its existence is a challenge, and even though thousands have died on the way up, Everest hasn't gotten any shorter than it was 70 years ago, making it still a huge accomplishment. Each step towards the top is a victory. Some believe that the people that go to Everest do it because if you can climb and get to the top, then everything else in life will seem easy in comparison. Hey, that's all for today. Be sure to leave us a like and let me know in the comments if you would want to climb to the top of Everest, or sit at base camp and drink a bunch of hot cocoa. I definitely want to do B, and we'll see you again next time. If you enjoy this video and want more interesting video like this, so do comment and also like and subscribe the channel to 50,000.